Half of the medical students at McGill are Americans who come to study here because it costs them just $10,000 instead of $50,000, $75,000, or $100,000. The Quebecois people are essentially covering the education costs for these individuals, who then return to their own countries afterwards. I've observed that these individuals are exceptionally skilled. They have the radio and they are good. Engaging with them can often feel like a challenging journey. It can be quite exhausting and demanding at times. However, I also feel that they might not know as much as they should. However, you know, for them, the tragic events that occurred in Gaza are attributed to the actions of Hamas's rockets. The little guy, it's not easy to explain. Every rocket launched by Hamas carries a significant story behind it. But their timeline certainly didn't begin just last night. There's the 1967 war, there's Israel's independence. To gain a basic understanding of the current situation, it's essential to look back and examine the historical context that led to this point. But for them, that's it. It's all there. Yes, we are in 2009. Yes, indeed. You're entirely focused on what is happening right now. There's nothing to understand. There's truly nothing significant to understand here. To understand something, you must take a step back, where you can truly grasp the underlying forces at play and understand how things have developed over time. About 4 or 5 years ago, I traveled to Brazil with a group of professionals from the THIC development team. We went to meet with the dedicated workers, the landless people, and the landless agricultural workers in Brazil. Landowners have taken over large estates, while many others are left without any land at all. He was attempting to clarify that to me. It's the work. This issue represents a significant challenge of exploitation faced in Latin America. So me, who is nothing. You lot, my rowdy gang of bastards, don't come crying on my shoulder for sympathy. Are you familiar with the British American Land Company and its history or significance? In Quebec, they unjustly stole a staggering 1 million acres of our ancestral land from us. So don't come crying to me and your big landowners. You're not of the class. We were taken advantage of far more than you ever were. So when people say, yeah, Quebec isn't the third world, it has been the third world. They took from us just as they took from countless nations around the world in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. We got robbed too. I worked a bit on the history of the 22nd Regiment. The 2nd Regiment was founded by some Canadian-French collaborators who said, "They will found a regiment. We will fight in Europe. They let us speak French. They're nice." The damn Scots, full of marks. They must have screwed us over in 1759. It's the state of Abraham. There were regiments that spoke in Scottish. The English soldiers didn't care much. They bravely died for the British crown. They died in Scotland with the... Throughout history, they often sent various regiments. Later, they sent regiments of Kirkis, along with individuals from India, as well as those from South Africa. They sacrificed their lives in every language for the British crown. Colonialism is intriguing because colonizers do not prioritize language or religion, reflecting their lack of refinement. They're there to exploit the countries and extract all the wealth and money from them entirely. So back then, the significant money was primarily in the lucrative fur trade industry. What was the fur trade? There were the prominent English business owners who controlled the capital and the enterprises, while we, Quebecers, in contrast, were merely rowing along. We were rowing and sharing. It's a Creole word. It's a negative. We risk drowning. And from time to time we had to carry the bosses. We carried the bosses on our shoulders so they wouldn't get their feet wet. And we carried the bosses' personal cooks, their aunts, and all of their delicious food. The whole gang of vultures from the Peaver Club. I made a film about it. I did it in the gullies. James McGill was one of them. At that time, the British government held complete control over all the lands known as Crown lands, while those bandits brazenly appropriated the lands for themselves. Myers authored a comprehensive economic history of the United States. Before doing that, he said the economic history of the United States was frightening. The theft that occurred was frightening. The history of Canada's economic development has progressed significantly, being 20 years ahead of many nations. It costs more than what the thieves took. So, Mr. McGill, you know, he's doing quite well, and he starts speculating on various pieces of land. He is granted a vast expanse of 38,000 acres of valuable land. By himself. They are currently at war, with each side taking pieces of the other's territory. The Ellis family receives 25,000 acres of land. Lord Drummond grants John Richardson a generous 29,000 acres of land, while also bestowing 11,000 acres to the Honourable Thomas Dunn in Stockley. Frabetchert receives a total of just 57,000 acres of rich and fertile land. In Latin America, he is drawn in completely. It's an intense, enjoyable experience. One day, universities were designed for him. Shopkeeper aristocracy. All the English merchants in Montreal, who are profiting handsomely from the lucrative fur and timber trade, subsequently exchange their influence to secure all the jobs in government, leading to a situation where everything intertwines. So Mr. McGill made his will in 1811, bequeathing $10,000 and his estate of Burnside, which was at the foot of the mountain, 46 acres. This is where McGill University is born, later followed by the Royal Institute for the Advancement of Learning that founded McGill University. The echo starts in 1829. Thus, McGill University was constructed on the unwavering dedication, blood and sweat of our hard-working ancestors and their enduring sacrifices. When they seized all the land, that's one of the reasons for the revolt of 1837-1838, because Quebecers no longer had access to the land they needed. They began to exile themselves to the United States to work in factories. Sometimes what truly captivates me in our ongoing liberation struggle is that it's not solely about preserving our beautiful French language. It's fundamentally about the fact that we are being robbed of our identity and culture. It's not the same. The captivating story of the Bank of Montreal is a very nice tale involving the Moles family. All the notorious scoundrels of the time are there, sitting on the board of directors. I have a friend named Marcel Danon, who attempted to orchestrate an elaborate heist to completely empty the vaults of the headquarters of the Bank of Montreal, hoping to secure a fortune in cash and valuables. They tunneled for a 200 million heist. And sometimes Marcel Jolimus has some nice reflections. He's a thief. In life, he's a thief. And his constant thought is always, who are the bigger thieves in this situation? Is it the Bank of Montreal, or are we attempting to rob the Bank of Montreal instead? Of course, Marcel Talon, next to the Bank of Montreal, has no talent. When you dig deeper into it, the entire story of our exploitation truly reveals itself and becomes apparent. In the Bank of Montreal, you need to look beyond just standing in front of the Bank of Montreal to understand it. Oh yes, it's like that. But they're nice, they have money, they're smart. The Patriots fight against that whole gang, the Castle clique, which controls all politics. And by controlling politics, they control the economy too, or vice versa. Because beyond that point, they go on to establish the British American Land Company, an enterprise that ultimately acquired a vast expanse of 1 million acres of land, significantly impacting the region's development and economy. That's a vast expanse of land, 1 million acres total. During that difficult time, we were truly starving. So you see, Peter McGill was indeed the official representative of that specific company operating in Canada. That's right. He becomes the administrator of British American land in 1834. At the same time, and a bit earlier in the timeline, these individuals strategically invest their capital into the railway project they are in the process of starting. And there it goes much further. They sit in high government positions while visiting luxurious estates and enjoying various privileges. To begin your study of the Confederation, you should start by examining the important Grand Trunk. Who sits at the Grand Trunk? In that place as well, all the notorious bandits are gathered there. They give each other pieces of land, they give each other money, they give each other grants, they cheat, then they encourage each other. It's simply an act of theft that is both clear and straightforward. The incredibly charming John Molson. These individuals organized English-speaking volunteers to oppose the Patriots' efforts. They are the ones who ruthlessly burn innocent villages and commit heinous violations. What's commendable about Peter McGill is that he served as the esteemed governor of McGill University, contributing to its prestigious legacy. So even I, who am often considered a dirty dog, am not making this up. For us it continues. We consistently find ourselves getting screwed over repeatedly. We love it. We love that. I'm truly sorry, but I am honestly shocked by this situation. I am deeply shocked. When I did The Time of the Buffoons, the Canadian radio said to me, "I tried. Is it really you?" I tried. It's profound. For me, the vast world that steals from me and mocks me, I truly tried my best. There you go. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. If you ever have nothing to read, you can read The Ghosts of King Leopold. The Ghosts of King Leopold tells the story of the Belgian conquest of Congo. 6 million dead. 6 million dead. There's no monument, no dedicated museum, and nothing at all about it. You have to go to Belgium, and there you see the gardens of King Leopold. It is beautiful, truly beautiful. This item is crafted using necromancer heads, neck arms, neck legs, and neck guts. 6 million dead. Okay? So here it's the same. It's with our skin that they built their university full of dead. Seeing him in his wheel jacket made me feel like the case, as I only have one. It's not the Quebecers who created the reserves. It's not the Quebecers who confined them to infamous reserves. They themselves confined us within a large reserve area known as Quebec. What I've learned from studying history is that our ancestors were indeed French colonialists, but it's important to recognize that they weren't saints either in their actions. Everyone defends their own interests. In North America, the primary distinction lies in the fact that the French population was so small that they were unable to implement the same policies as their English counterparts. From the very beginning, when Champlain first arrived, the settlers were such small groups that they were unable to confront the Indians. So they strategically formed alliances with numerous Native American tribes. The Hurons assert that the field in question belongs to them. For us, our enemies are the Iroquois. I sang to them about your quarrels with the gang, but honestly, I'm not interested in any of it. But he has to come in. The Iroquois are the only tribe in North America with whom we have clashed. Everything else along the Mississippi River, including the French settlers and our ancestors, are united in alliance with all the diverse Native American tribes. Okay? So it's not the same gang. And when a notable figure like Thiberville, also known as Tiberville, who famously discovered the entrance to the mighty Mississippi River, suggests that we should consider forming a new race, it certainly raises intriguing possibilities for our future. Half Indian heritage, half white ancestry. And they declared firmly, "We will reject the whites to the sea." Really sick, he wanted. He had already left, and he wanted to set fire to Florida while heading northward. After the massacre of the Tiberville is an example in this context. He always walks with his gang of killers. Here, too, there isn't necessarily an end. In the ongoing Sweat War, the situation involves a mix of French individuals, Canadians, particularly Quebecers, but it notably excludes Francophone speakers. Half Quebecers, half Americans, and half Indians of various backgrounds. Throughout the extensive history of Tiberville, many events occurred. And then, when you take a closer look at the Conquest War from the American historical perspective, it reveals deeper insights and implications. There, they refer to it as the French-Indian War. So, they were fighting against the French and the Indians. We were allies. So I'm definitely not going to get crushed. Me here, you don't have the Wild West. John Wayne was not depicted as killing Native Americans. We were allied with them for an incredibly long period of time, spanning many years of mutual support and cooperation. In fact, even as early as 1837 and 1838, one of the key points highlighted in the Declaration of Independence of Non-Canada is the fundamental principle of equality and freedom for the indigenous savages. It's quite an interesting word, the savages. Indigenous people, not a fake saying, are involved. We've been here for 400 years, but we're not indigenous us here. Huh? How long does it take? And before the Native Americans and others, before they came from elsewhere, there was nothing. That's right. I just don't feel guilty about anything. However, beyond that aspect, we must focus on rebuilding relationships, creating fair accounts, and establishing a comprehensive exchange policy that respects the rights and needs of Native Americans and other impacted communities. I firmly refuse to feel guilty about anything in my life or my choices moving forward. But these are specific policies implemented by the federal government and the British government. Throughout the entire period, we implemented our own native policy. We did not proceed along the same path as others. We weren't weaker, yet again. I really enjoyed the atmosphere back in the day during the Beguile French protest, which was meticulously organized by a dedicated group of about 5 to 6 individuals over several months. Interestingly, it was largely the same group of people who later played a significant role in instigating the events of the October crisis. It only takes a handful of 5 to 6 truly crazy individuals to significantly slow down relationships between people. No, I don't recall that specific moment, but I distinctly remember being there. There were several guys throwing Molotov cocktails. She certainly doesn't appear to be drinking from that sickly cartel. Not at all.